Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the Everything is Bad new Fangled Motion Picture Show.
So, once again, we're back. I'm Niall.
I'm Nolan.
And we are going to review the crap out of Transformers The Last Night. And we're going to do a spoiler-free review, as always. And as always, we'll splash a big ol' spoiler warning. And then we will do a spoilerific part of the review.
As always.
Where we complain about, very specific things in the plot and whatnot. So,
as is tradition.
Yep. So, Transformers Last Night.
Yep.
2.5 hours long. And the story still was rushed.
Oh man, that could have been 2 movies.
It should have been 2 movies.
It wasn't a great movie, but
yeah, it was not a good movie.
It was better than The Mummy.
It was better than The Mummy.
But that's a pretty low bar.
I would say this was better than the last Transformers movie as well.
I would give this 2.5 Starscream severed heads.
Starscream. That was in the first one, right?
I guess. I mean, Megatron was always. Oh yeah, yeah, that was the first one. They're like, it's Starscream. I thought you were talking about like Megatron yelling at him.
No,
that was just something Megatron always did, was yell at Starscream.
Right, because Starscream is always a screw up.
Right.
But anyway, yeah. So this movie's not great. In fact, it's not even good. Even like the parts of Transformers that you typically go to see, like, I mean, everyone knows the story of Transformers isn't gonna be great. We've accepted that. Really, you're just there to see giant robots shooting the crap out of each other. Even that, there wasn't a whole lot of direct Transformer on Transformer action, and of what there was, it was not real great.
One thing I did appreciate is that they reused characters, because the sequels have this habit of, you have Optimus Prime, you have Bumblebee, and then every other Autobot you have never seen before. Who are they? Where'd they come from? Who knows? The filmmakers don't care. They're just throwing as many in there as they can.
Sell toys.
In this case, every Autobot was one you had previously seen.
Yeah, they were all in the previous one.
Right.
I think all the Autobots that weren't Optimus Prime and Bumblebee, though, were only in the previous one.
Yes. That's true.
So, there's that.
Yeah,
the only Decepticons that they reused were Megatron and Barricade. Barricade?
Yeah, Barricade.
Yeah, Barricade.
Barricade actually was in the movie quite a bit. Then there were a couple others that were in there, but they were minor at best. They didn't even really serve much purpose. But yeah, I mean, every Transformers sequel, I think, suffers from this problem of, like, all this stuff happens in the gap, and they don't explain any of it, and they just drop you in the middle of this, and you're like, what is going on? This is I can't follow this movie that has no coherency. And not that this one really had a whole lot of coherency, but
Yeah.
But yeah, and then this movie was so rushed. Like, even the quiet, like, slow, like, get to know the character scenes were like rapid fire.
Yep.
They're like bam, 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 bam. Here's some dialogue, whoa, 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 and then like jumping all over the, like, from one conversation to the other, and then move on to like the next action sequence.
It was an exhausting movie too.
It was. It was like,
and like the scenes where it's Marky Mark and the female love interest and Anthony Hopkins
was the best part of this movie.
Yeah, it was pretty great. Even when it's like the three of them in a study, and we're getting like lots of exposition and explanation of why there was all this Arthurian legend stuff wrapped up in Transformers. Because that's been we've been pondering that in the trailers the whole time. Even like the parts where it's like explaining that, it's a lot of like rapid cuts and these like upward angles at the characters and stuff. And it's just
like Michael Bay doesn't know how to shoot anything but an action sequence, so even like an exposition dialogue sequence is shot like an action sequence.
Yeah, it's just like,
and there's not a single stationary camera in this entire movie. Like everything is like handheld or on tracks, moving some way. It's really kind of annoying. But yeah, so Anthony Hopkins plays like just this like doddering lunatic, and he's pretty entertaining to watch.
Yeah.
Like if you're not paying attention to what he's saying, you miss like where he'll be like just start like on this tangent about like one of his relatives about what a horrible person they are, and if you're not paying attention to what he's saying, because it's easy to not, because there's all this other stuff going on, you realize like, did he just like talk about, you know, how his aunt like murdered babies or something? I don't know what he just said, but it was stuff like that. It was like, what?
Yeah, and it was, I mean, yeah, the story is bad. Like we went into it expecting that. What was really disappointing about the movie, though, was the fact that the action sequences were just kind of okay. And I mean, I don't want to spoil too much, but there is a shot in the trailer, so I think it's safe to talk about it, where Optimus Prime just like beheads like 6 other Transformers in one swing of his sword, not axe. You know, and it's like, man, that scene was like gonna be a cool freaking fight, and it was like, oh god, Optimus Prime, like he's got the sword out and he's kicking ass, and there's all these other total badass bad guy Transformers, and alright, that's the end of that fight. Yeah, so like, yeah, it was not real great as far as action. I mean, it was fine action, but you know, we expect more. And it would have been amazing 10 years ago.
Yeah.
We've just had so many Transformers movies now that it's like, alright, I've seen it. Show me something new.
Right. I have this theory that Michael Bay is trying to get out of making Transformers movies, but he's locked into it.
So he keeps making them worse and worse?
He's trying to force the studio's hand, saying, no, you can't make these anymore, by making them worse and worse, and hoping that they'll just take it away from him.
Yeah. Well, I've heard... Okay, so I had read somewhere that this was supposed to be Michael Bay's last Transformers movie. Also, there was a tweet I saw, a promoted tweet on Twitter. It was an ad for Transformers from the Transformers official Twitter page, and it said something along the lines of, watch the Autobots roll out for the last time, or something like that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, they're really like stressing a finality to a movie that is totally left open for a sequel.
Oh, yeah. Well, we don't want to get into the spoilers.
I don't want to get into the specifics of that, but man, they totally leave this movie open for a sequel.
They basically say there's going to be a sequel at the end of it.
Yeah.
Basically, it ends with, stay tuned for the next episode. It might as well end with that. It's not just like, hey, it's open, a sequel could happen. It's like, well, it needs to happen to wrap this up now.
Yeah. So that's annoying.
Yeah.
But, I mean, also, like, Marky Mark's arms aren't as ridiculous anymore.
I don't know, they were pretty big.
They were pretty big, but man.
Well, when I was looking for pictures to, like, put in our slideshow, I'm like, man, he still got some pretty jacked arms.
He does, but not
But
as jacked.
Well, he's wearing long sleeves most of the time in this.
I think it's to hide his less jacked arms. But, I mean, the last one he'd filmed right after doing Lone Survivor?
Either that or Pain and Gain. I don't remember which one.
Yeah. His arms were huge in both of those, though.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I can't honestly recommend this movie to anyone, really.
I guess if you're like just a diehard Transformers fan, you just love the movies.
Dude, if you're a diehard Transformers fan, you'd probably be just disappointed in this movie.
Well, if you've loved all the previous ones,
I guess so.
I mean, I don't know how I'd rank this, but it's better than the third one, which I think is the bottom in my list.
Yeah, I'd say
the first Transformers movie is actually a pretty good movie.
Yeah,
that's the only one I've watched more than once.
The first Transformers movie is the only one that feels like they tried to do something, like, tried to take what is a ridiculous concept and actually try to do something with it.
Yeah.
The rest of the movies just felt like, yeah, we know it's a toy line, so we just kind of don't care.
Well, if you look at like the writing credits on all the movies, like they keep changing, but like it basically like I attribute everything good on the first one to one specific writer. I can't remember who it was, but that's the only like one that was any good, so it had to be this writer.
Yeah. But I actually don't have any major complaints to say about the guns in this movie, other than the fact that a task force that like specifically fights Transformers should probably be armed with like nothing but AT-4s, Carl Gustavs, and javelins.
Roberto Orci. He's like the second one. Like the next two movies had like the same writer, but Roberto Orci only worked on the first one. So I'm thinking like everything good about the first one was his fault.
Could be. But yeah, the Transformers hunting unit probably should be armed with more than M4 carbines.
What were they called? TRF.
Yeah, Transformers Reaction Force.
Something like, yeah.
Sounds ridiculous when you say it out loud.
Yeah, they're like a UN.
Yeah, it's a multinational military organization that hunts Transformers. Because in the movie, this isn't really spoiling anything because they explain all this in the intro. Transformers just keep arriving on Earth, and the humans have no idea why. It's explained in the movie why, but the humans have no idea why. All they know is that for some reason, Transformers are just constantly crashing into Earth.
And they always mess stuff up, so humans are kind of tired of it.
Yep.
And they look at the governments of the world look at it as like an invasion. So all Transformers, no matter whose side they're on, are enemies of humanity or deemed so.
Yep.
So
I mean, yeah.
And then what's his name? Ah, God, he was in the first movie. I guess he was in the first three. What was that guy's name? The
William Lennox. This guy.
Yeah, Josh Duhamel or whatever his name is. His character. Yeah, he's a colonel in the US Army.
Right, who's embedded with the TRF.
Right, and he's of the mind like, well, no, the Autobots are our friends. We only need to fight the Decepticons. But the TRF is like, all Transformers must die. Anyway, I think that's enough of our like spoiler-free review. I think we're starting to get into spoiler territory.
Yep. So from here forward, spoilers are rolling out.
All right.
So that little girl.
Oh man, this little girl you see in the trailer
should not be in the movie. Like, not only could she have been cut out entirely, I argue she should not have been in the movie.
Yeah, her character was annoying. She's the of an entire cast of melodramatic performances. She was the most melodramatic.
Yep.
And yeah, she could have been. She added
did nothing.
To,
she added 0 to the movie.
She had no purpose.
Yeah. So like,
there's no point where she was useful to the plot. She didn't do anything.
She did not need to act as a surrogate daughter to Mark Wahlberg, because Mark Wahlberg, like, he wasn't estranged from his daughter or anything. She didn't, like...
I mean, he couldn't see her.
Right.
Because he's being monitored by the government. And there's a warrant out for his arrest. Or, as far as this, like, leader of the TRF is concerned, execution.
Yeah.
But it's not like, his daughter didn't want to have anything to do with him, so he needs, like, this girl to, like, teach him how to love again or anything like that.
Right.
And, like, she's really not in most of the movie.
Yeah, she has very few scenes, very little screen time.
It's like, he saves her, and she's dude. And she's foul-mouthed.
She's foul-mouthed. She's the worst Chekhov's gun. Because, so, they make this big deal out of how she can fix Transformers. Like, she's just a savant with machines, and she can repair Transformers. And, at the end of the movie, she stows away on an Osprey, and, like, is with the group going up to blow up Cybertron or whatever.
Yeah, because Cybertron's going to crash into Earth because this villainous female Transformer is going to crash Cybertron into Earth, and it's going to transform Earth into Cybertron, I guess. And so then Cybertron.
They want to suck all of the they want to use all the geothermal energy, suck it out of Earth, and use that to repair Cybertron.
Oh,
but anyway,
or something like that about
yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, so she
from the guy that just kept screaming physics, mic drop.
Right.
Every other line out of his mouth was physics.
Yeah.
That guy was annoying too.
So, but anyway, so she's like in the midst of all this fighting and stuff going on, and it's like, all right, here's where she's gonna be relevant. One of the Autobots is gonna get hurt, and she's gonna need to fix them. And it's gonna be like Bumblebee or Optimus Prime.
Yeah, that didn't happen.
Nope, did not happen at all.
No, in fact, so she stows away, and they're like, this big fight, and so the military is like, well, let's shoot rockets at this thing, and once that's blown up, it'll stop the whole convergence or whatever's going on, and that didn't work, so all the soldiers are like, well, we gotta get out of here, so they jump off this thing and parachute away, and one of them grabs the girl and jumps away.
To be fair, they jumped off before that thing took out the control facility. Because they needed to get out of there before that got knocked off.
Right, well, anyway. Yeah, but the girl goes with the soldiers.
Yep.
It's like, so she had no purpose being on the... She didn't do anything.
Yes, she did nothing.
There was no point. She was a waste of space, and
she was
an annoying character.
She was a waste of screen time in a movie that was so full of stuff going on that they managed to make a 2.5-hour movie feel rushed. 149 minutes. I think it's a minute shy of 2.5 hours.
Right. And the whole movie felt just rushed. Like the moments, there's like these scenes where the girl and Mark Wahlberg are supposed to be bonding, right? And they're like so rapid fire. It's like, I don't want you here because it's dangerous. She's like, hey, I can fix Transformers. Like, oh yeah? Well, pop quiz, hotshot. What does this part do? She's like, it does this. Oh, okay. Now we're best friends. Next scene, that was 30 seconds.
Yeah. So yeah, honestly, that's probably my biggest complaint about the movie.
Yeah.
She just did not need to be in it. Otherwise, I mean, it was like,
they need to get her out of the way for more Anthony Hopkins.
Yeah. Oh, man. And then, like, there's there's this big fight scene at the end, and they show very little of, like, there's very few shots where both good guy Transformers and bad guy Transformers are in the same shot.
Mm-hmm.
It's like they show the John Goodman Transformer just like shooting his machine gun, but from the front, so you don't see him actually shooting anyone. And then they show the enemy. They might cut to the enemies and see them get like hit with a bunch of bullets and stuff. But like you don't see it, like, other than Optimus Prime when he's being Nemesis Prime fighting Bumblebee, there's not a lot of like fight scenes that are more than just decapitation, move on to the next one.
Yeah. So Optimus Prime being Nemesis Prime. So Optimus Prime, like, I think it was in the last movie, he launched himself into space to go seek out Cybertron, the remains of it, right?
Something like that.
And so he drifts into Cybertron, and instantly, like, there's this evil Transformer there, who, like, hacks his brain or something so she can control him.
So she's basically
The Borg Queen.
Or she's like a Satan from Warhammer. Like the evil ancient gods of the Necrons. You know, she's like this, I built Cybertron and I can control all the Transformers, and so she just like presses her will upon Optimus Prime and he becomes Nemesis Prime. And he's duking it out with Bumblebee, and it takes Bumblebee talking to him.
Somehow Bumblebee's voice comes back.
Yeah, so like they even have a scene where they install a new the Steve Buscemi Transformer shows up.
Day Trader.
Day Trader was actually probably the coolest character in the most interesting character anyway.
He was actually pretty good. He sells Mark Wahlberg a voice unit for Bumblebee, and then they install it in its Siri's voice. And so Bumblebee gets pissed and he rips the thing out. So he's back to using the radio samples for speech like he always has.
Right.
And then he's fighting Optimus Prime, and then he somehow, for some reason, through, I don't know, sheer force of will, regains his voice. And he's like,
it's a miracle.
It's a miracle. He's like, Optimus Prime, I would die for you. And Optimus Prime's like, oh, my old friend Bumblebee, I have not heard your voice since you left Cybertron. And he turns back into Optimus Prime. Like, what have I done? And then, like, these 12 knights have been on Earth since forever.
They were the bodyguards of that queen, and were like, hey, this chick's evil.
Yeah, and they referred to her as, like, the Great Deceiver or something, and it's like,
again, she's totally a Satan.
But there's like no backstory for her, is the problem. It's like, he shows up, I'm gonna destroy Earth with Cybertron, and we're gonna rebuild Cybertron by destroying Earth. Now let's send Cybertron to Earth.
Unicron. Earth is Unicron.
Right. But it's been so long since, like, Earth had become Unicron that there's like these things sticking out of, like, the ground in random places.
They start coming more out of the ground during the movie.
And it's like apparently like where Cybertron's supposed to dock with Unicron and like or something, but they're not lined up right because when it initially started happening, the landmasses were Pangea. That's how long Earth has been a transformer.
And it all centers on Stonehenge.
Yeah, Stonehenge is the plug into which the spaceship is supposed to jack into. It's supposed to plug into that, and that's supposed to start the whole process.
Yeah, and so during the movie, they show these Transformers and all these historical... like, they talk about Transformers being, you know... They've
been on Earth. Well, and we've already established that in the last movie. They were dinosaurs.
Right. Yeah. My question is this. Didn't it show Bumblebee arriving on Earth?
No, I thought about that. Because I brought that up. Then I thought about it. I'm like, no, they didn't show Bumblebee arriving. He was already on Earth. Because he was that Camaro, a junky Camaro when Shia LaBeouf bought the car. That was already Bumblebee, and there was never any sequence where it showed Bumblebee arrive on Earth.
Didn't it? I thought it was like one of the very first shots in the movie.
I don't think so.
I might have to go back and watch that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, because I thought about it. I was like, wait a minute, no, they didn't show Bumblebee arrive on Earth. But what doesn't make a whole lot of sense though is after LaBeouf buys the car, buys Bumblebee. Bumblebee's first task he does is go find a radio tower to send a signal saying, "Hey, Optimus Prime and the rest of the Autobots come to Earth." If Bumblebee had been on Earth for however many decades, why is this now the first chance he's taken to send a signal?
Yeah, because there's this part where Marky Mark walks past a poster in Anthony Hopkins' study.
Oh, who's related to LaBeouf's character?
Yeah.
So Anthony Hopkins is from this long line of Witwickens, which is the Witwickies is a branch of the Witwicken clan.
Right. They're a family of Transformer people. People associated with Transformers. So it's like the Belmonts, but not as cool.
No.
And so... Yeah, so there's this part, though, where, while that's being explained, Mark Wahlberg sees this poster that's got an OD Bumblebee on it. And he's like, that looks like B. And Anthony Hopkins is like, it is B.
He fought in World War II. And who knows how long he'd been on Earth prior to that.
Right, and so it shows this... And then Marky Mark's like, but... It says something about, B's is so nice or something.
He's such a nice guy.
And Anthony Hopkins goes, the guys behind the lines had many names for him, but nice was never one of them, or something like that.
Yeah, and it shows the sequence of these American soldiers attacking the Reichstag or something.
Oh.
Or some German.
So, on the poster, it looked like the Reichstag. Yeah. Which bothered me, because it was American troops taking the Reichstag, which never happened. But it looked like it was just some it could have been a French palace.
Yeah. It was a bunch
occupied by the Germans.
It was some German occupied building with big Nazi banners and stuff.
Yeah.
And they roll up, and then two of their cars are Transformers, a Jeep and a truck. It's a Jeep and a deuce and a half for Transformers, and they just
they were. It was a German field car. And
they were posing as Germans.
Posing as Germans, right? Yeah.
Yeah, so it was a German. Yeah, because Bumblebee was it was
a Kuba wagon and a German field car.
Yeah, well, I think that might have been a throwback to the fact that Bumblebee was originally a Volkswagen.
Maybe, yeah, that could be. But anyway, but yeah, and it's so Bumblebee's been on Earth at least since the 1940s. Right.
So why did you wait until 2007 to contact Optimus Prime and the rest of the Autobots?
Hey man, it's taken me a while, but I finally found that awkward teenager that we've been looking for to do our... I don't even remember what was important about LaBeouf in the original Transformers. Did he just get caught up in that stuff? Or was he some chosen one? I don't remember.
So, as I recall, his great-great-great-grandfather, whatever, had discovered Megatron, I think, frozen in the northern ice cap.
That's right.
And the lenses of his glasses got laser etched with a map or something.
Oh yeah.
And because they're looking for the Allspark.
Yeah.
The Allspark did it play any part in any of the other movies? I don't even remember. But they're looking for the Allspark, which is that big cube.
Oh, I remember now.
Yeah. It was a more coherent plot than any of the others. And that that agent guy who's been in all the movies. He's back. Oh, so whereas the whole world hates Transformers, they're all welcome in Cuba.
Yep.
So there's just Transformers running around Havana. I guess they're all posing as 1950s cars.
Yep. And
maybe all the cars were Transformers this whole time. Who knows?
Yeah. And the agent's like friends with them though.
Yeah, he lives in Cuba with them.
Yep.
So his entire every scene he's in is basically him on a payphone talking to Anthony Hopkins.
Basically.
Oh no! I guess there's a scene inside like a little apartment.
Yeah, where he's like connecting push pins with red string on a map and stuff.
Yeah, being all crazy, and he's drinking like a Mai Tai with no ice in it, and he's freaking out about that.
Yep. But yeah, so
because Cuba's so poor, they don't have ice.
Yeah, it's the plot just like rambles.
Yeah, and it's like a really long movie.
Like there was, I remember distinctly when watching this movie, thinking to myself like, here's would be a good break point. I been in this movie for a while now. You know, they've gone on long enough, and now's a decent part in the plot, I think, to break. No, we're gonna keep going. All right.
Yeah, we kind of almost needed a mid break,
An intermission.
Couldn't think of the word. Almost needed an intermission in that movie.
Not quite that long. I think they're only supposed to do that for movies longer than 3 hours.
Yeah, I remember
So Gods and Generals.
Gods and Generals is the only movie I've ever seen in theaters with an intermission.
Yep.
So anyway, yeah. Oh, and then this submarine that they take the submarine from the Royal Navy Museum in England, and apparently it's a transformer, though it never transforms. But they do call it a transformer, right?
I don't know if they call it a transformer, but they're like, oh, it knows where to go.
It's not even in the water. I mean, it's up on like a stand. It's like sitting on a slab of concrete on these blocks on moorings, right? So it's not even in the water, but it jumps that. It never doesn't actually show it. It shows like the propellers start to spin, and then there's this report. The submarine jumped its moorings.
Yeah.
And you don't actually see it happen, but it happened.
Trust us,
because it goes from being sitting on dry land to going down the Thames, and then out into the ocean, past the cliffs of Dover. And yeah, that kind of would have been interesting. And if it were a transformer, that would make sense.
Yeah.
But I don't know. And then why is there a front window on this submarine?
On this military submarine?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Is that actually there in that actual submarine?
I hope not.
Seems like a bad idea.
It is a bad idea. There's a reason you don't see windows on military submarines.
It's like that. What was it like? Journey to 10,000 Fathoms or whatever that old sci-fi movie was in the 50s. Can't remember, but there was like this big front window on the submarine. Anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, we're just sort of rambling now. It's not
it's not a great movie. Really pretty bad. The whole Arthurian legend stuff is kind of
It's kind of like Michael Bay's like, you know what? I want to make an King Arthur movie. Find me an excuse.
Yeah,
shoehorn it in.
I don't care what it is. We're gonna mix it with Bad Boys 3. We'll find a way.
Yep.
But yeah, It has like none of the redeeming qualities of the other Transformer movies.
Well,
And
I would argue none of the other Transformer movies, except for the first one, had any redeeming qualities anyway.
Yeah, I guess.
I
don't know, man. The fight scenes were pretty good in the last one.
Yeah, the last one was really long too.
Yeah.
And then that girl who played Marky Mark's daughter in that one was pretty hot.
Yeah.
Um.
But yeah, it's honestly, don't see it.
Yeah.
Like, I can't legitimately with a straight face recommend this movie to anyone. So.
No. And Optimus Prime gives his usual speech.
Yeah. He gives the pre-last fight speech and the pre-credits speech.
Yep.
Oh, how many times has he called all Autobots?
I know, right? It's like
at the end of a movie.
I think pretty much everyone he's called all Autobots.
This message goes out to all Autobots. Earth and its inhabitants. Something, something, something.
I think in the last one he said something about Earth being under his protection, so don't come mess with me.
And then he left.
Yeah.
A jerk.
And he came back and was all bad until Bumblebee.
But he had purple eyes.
Yeah. I'm actually going to kind of miss Bumblebee, talking with sound bites. Because it was always entertaining to see.
Yeah, what they combined to get the point across.
Yeah.
But Nolan, they totally left it open for a sequel.
No, they kind of said there's going to be a sequel because at the end, you had this group in the middle of the desert inspecting one of these...
Somewhere.
Middle East somewhere, I guess. Egypt, maybe? I don't know. They're inspecting one of the giant claw things coming out of the ground, and this mysterious woman walks up to them and says something about Unitron coming, and then she flickers the hologram that they always have. The Transformers have a holographic driver in the vehicles,
right.
And she flickers like one of those. So yeah, it basically just said, hey, stay tuned.
Yeah.
Same Transformers time, same Transformers channel.
Pretty much. But yeah, I think that's all we have to say about that.
Yeah.
Next week, it's Baby Driver. I'm really excited for that movie.
Should be a better movie than Transformers.
I'm really excited for Baby Driver. That movie looks incredibly entertaining. I don't know if it'll be a good movie, but it looks like a very entertaining movie.
Yeah.
And I know they premiered it, I think, at South by Southwest, and it's gotten pretty good reviews from the people who have seen it, though. So there's that. Otherwise, if you like this format, how we've been handling the new Fangled motion picture show, leave a comment. Let us know what you would prefer more of, what you think we should do less of. If there's upcoming movies that we should specifically watch, because right now we're just sort of any movie that we would want to have seen anyway, we go and see, and it's kind of how we've been deciding what we do reviews of.
Right.
That's why we did that Baywatch review in the middle of the week, a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. Because that's when we were able to see Baywatch.
Right. So, yeah, otherwise, go ahead and hit subscribe so you can be notified when we post other new Fangled motion picture shows, along with our other content. So, until next week, goodbye.